Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Recruiter Talks. For those who are new to the channel, my name is Shiva Krishna. I'm a talent acquisition professional. I'm into recruitment for the last 13 years. I've started with an agency and worked in various industries. I worked in oil and gas, EPC, property management, facility management. Currently, I'm with one of the leading developer based in Abu Dhabi. So throughout my career, I'm into talent acquisition. And one of the main reason I started Recruiter Talks because I talk to a lot of candidates on a daily basis. And there are a lot of inspiring stories which really inspired me and they're very informative too. So I thought like, why don't I share these stories with the audience out there who are fresh graduates or have started their career just a year or 2 years back. So these stories will inspire them to be that gives an edge for them in terms of how to become better in terms of their career prospects. So that's the idea of starting this Recruiter Talks. So for those who have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe because this really motivates me to bring in a lot of content. And last week we did a video podcast on chartered accountancy. The content came really well and it was well received. Thank you so much for the support there. But as I said, please do subscribe to my channel and give me that motivation. So talking about this week, yes, we are back in with another episode. We are going to talk about a profession which is very minimally spoken in the market, and it is a support function as well as strategic function. It is transactional as well as transformational. And this department is that helps your organization in purchasing a pencil to a plane. They get you anything strategically. Yes, you guessed it right. It's procurement. So to talk more about procurement, I have Tej Trivedi in the house. We are in Studio 321 in Dubai. Tej Trivedi is a pro procurement professional. He has over 13 years of experience and he's done various certifications. We'll be talking about it very shortly. So let's deep dive into my episode of the Recruiter Talks on Procurement. Let's welcome Tej Trivedi. Hey Tej, thank you so much for joining us today. So Tej, first, would you mind just giving a very high-level introduction about yourself, Tej?
Yeah, my name is Tej Trivedi and I'm into procurement for last 13 plus years.
Wow, okay.
In Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier I have a commercial background.
Mm-hmm.
I have done my bachelor's degree and I do not have any science or engineering background.
And where did you finish your schooling and college? So where about you? You're from India. So where in India you have done your schooling and college?
I've done my schooling here in Dubai.
Ah, okay.
I've been born in India, raised here in Dubai.
Amazing.
Done my college in India.
Okay.
And then came back, joined here, started working as a procurement executive.
Okay.
In 2012.
Okay.
And then while I was working, I started studying as well and upskilling my skills.
Okay.
Upskilling myself, and I've done my CIPS
Okay.
while I was working.
Okay.
And my masters.
All right.
And also certified trade and logistics professional, CTLP.
Okay. This is something that I didn't know about. We'll talk about it. So you did your schooling here in UAE. So until 12th, you have done your schooling in UAE, and then for bachelor's, you went back to India.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the normal trend for Indian kids, especially who have studied here. Right. I wanted to talk about that, but I'll do a separate episodes on why students who does the schooling here and start bachelor's in India. Let's talk about it on a separate episode.
Yeah.
But this week, so you are completely into procurement. So why did you choose procurement as a career? Can you tell me how it happened?
As you rightly said, it is not a very highlighted kind of a profession.
Mm-hmm.
Like procurement is always behind the scenes. We are working.
Right.
Yeah? We are nowhere in the picture. The marketing, the sales team takes the role where they come in front of the customers and they deal and they take the credit. But procurement is a team which is working behind the scenes, making sure that the entire project goes in the budget that has been allotted,
Okay.
and the cost savings, the supplier management,
Right.
everything goes in line. So procurement is always, but right now I feel that from last 5 years or so, it is getting its due now finally,
Okay.
and slowly it is still emerging now as a main profession,
Right.
and people are aiming to work as a procurement professional.
Yeah, I'm like, I understand that. Like, you're talking about procurement. Absolutely get that. But when you did your bachelor's, have you thought that procurement is going to be my career, or how it has happened? So, your first job, can you tell me, take me through, like, how you landed up on your first role?
Yeah, see, as I told you, I've done my bachelor's in commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, BCom we call it in
Okay.
India. So I've done my bachelor's in commerce, and my favorite subject used to be cost accountancy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I was good in accounts and costing.
All right.
So I always thought that after college I'll be doing something related to accounts. But
That's
then,
normal.
yeah, something
Yeah.
about accounts, something about finance.
Right.
But then, like I came here, I got a good opportunity in 2012 July,
Right.
and I was just 22 years old.
Uh-huh.
And then I took up the opportunity,
Right.
and it seems to be growing on me.
All right.
It's been 13 years in the same organization,
Okay.
and now I have got many promotions, and I'm at the top of the procurement position. in
I
our
saw
organization.
I saw that on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Absolute growth. I'm like, that's one of the reason for me to bring you here. But then again, as I said, like, for example, someone who does, I'm like, ideally you are a Bachelor of Commerce student.
Yeah.
Where you should be doing it. I'm like, of course, it has to be related to finance.
Yes.
If you have done a chartered accountancy, or that your career would go towards the finance sector,
Yes.
but not procurement.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just curious to understand. So there was a procurement position and you applied there, and that's how you landed on your first opportunity.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. In your opinion, I'm like, you already spoke about procurement, but like someone who is starting fresh, okay, someone who has a bachelor's or engineering, do you recommend procurement for them as a career?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, as I said, in last 5 years, if you had asked me the same question 5 years ago, I might have had another opinion. But
Okay.
right now, I would say it is getting its due, and now people are starting to realize the
Okay.
importance,
Right.
the strategies we apply,
Okay.
the importance of managing the suppliers, the vendor management, the cost saving, the value addition, all that is required for an organization to grow.
Mm-hmm.
All that is being valued now.
Okay.
So I would definitely recommend people who are going through the bachelors and the freshies
Okay.
to opt for this procurement opportunities. Definitely, why not?
So, there are a lot of elements here, right? Like, someone who has done a bachelor's, can they easily cope up if they have taken an entry level role in procurement, understanding about projects, understanding about strategies, about budgets, finding suppliers? Do you think someone who is taking up an entry level role, will they be successful? What's your opinion on it?
See, it is definitely not easy when you start, because there's a lot of responsibilities that you hold,
Okay.
and you have to take up the responsibilities, because like if you fail, the entire organization fails on the project.
Right.
So it is not easy, of course. There's a lot of responsibility that you have. There's a lot of integrity you have to show. I would say that a procurement person, procurement professional, has to have integrity. That is a mandatory thing as a procurement professional, what I feel, as of my experience. In the beginning, definitely, when a fresher joins, he definitely needs to have some good guidance initially, not just do anything. He has to have a proper guidance by the manager, so that he can take care of the role in future and grow along. And then second is definitely integrity. He should have that integrity towards his organization,
Right.
so that he does not compromise later. And the third thing is, I think a good financial knowledge is also very crucial.
Okay.
Good accounting, good financial knowledge is also very important.
You work with a lot of data, right?
Yeah.
So from a data point of it, like, do you also look at having skills on Excel when you take a candidate? That's what
Yes,
we're going
yes,
to.
Excel as well. Yeah.
All right, okay. And now procurement has become more and more matured. You need to deal with a lot of data. Uh, is AI helping you on that?
Yes, I have been recently, like for last 6 to 8 months, I have been myself trying to adapt with the AI. Of
Okay.
course, whenever we require to get the data for analyze the pricing and the pricing from the suppliers that we have, we need to analyze those things. We definitely we can use AI
Okay.
just as a tool. So that is what I also prefer. Like AI is definitely going to be a game changer. But right now, this is what use I feel is off for a procurement.
So far, we have spoken about procurement in general. Now, let's make it a bit interesting. So, we touched on education and certifications, etc. So, just to understand more, I'm going to keep this question particularly for engineering students. One of the main reasons today why I want to put this question to the engineering students, because there are a lot of engineers out there. Okay, for example, if you look at the data, the amount of engineers that are coming in and the amount of like the number of jobs that are available is like it doesn't match basically. So someone who has done a civil engineering gets into civil engineering, and then someone who has done a mechanical engineering gets into mechanical engineering. But then like someone who wants to get into procurement, they are not actually aware, if I have an engineering I can make a career in procurement, right?
Yeah.
So, is this like, especially for those engineers out there who have good communication skills, Excel skills, if they want to start a career in procurement, what do you suggest for them? Like, how is the career for procurement who has done engineering?
See, basically, what happens is the amount of jobs for engineers, like in hardcore engineering, are limited, and then there are these jobs in procurement where, like, they can be used. These can be opted by engineers, because generally, I feel that if you can do engineering, you can do anything. Is what like I have heard, and is what I feel. Like, I have some engineer friends. They're good at finance. They're good at doing business, and definitely they will be good at procurement as well. It's just a little bit of training, some financial add-ons, knowledge add-ons, some upskilling somewhere, like doing masters or doing some CIPS will add on to your skills, and definitely you can enter into procurement as well for engineers.
All right. So you spoke about CIPS. That's one of the questions that I wanted to ask. So what is CIPS, Tej?
First of all, I'll give you a full form of CIPS. It's Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply.
Okay.
It's a UK-based organization, a non-profit organization, and it is like how you have chartered accountancy in India,
Okay.
similar ICAI.
All right.
Similarly, you have a CIPS,
Okay.
which is for the procurement fraternity, and there are levels. There are level 2, level 3, level
Okay.
4, and then there is MSIPS.
Okay. So someone who wants to start a career in procurement, it's good to have CIPS the basic level and then start their career.
It
Will
depends.
that help?
Yeah, definitely. I have completed my CIPS level 4 in 1.5 years.
Okay.
Total there are 8 modules, and they keep on changing the syllabus as well based on
Okay.
the right now. I think they've got some new modules and revisions as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it takes nearly, I would say, around 1 to 2 years.
And then once you have like you keep on having experience, and then relevant certifications will be done related to CIPS.
Yeah.
And is CIPS expensive?
CIPS is no. It depends. If you are doing self study, you do not need to pay tuition fees. You do not need to enroll for any university or anything. You can do it by yourself.
Okay.
But still, it is not expensive, but it's not cheap either.
Okay. Approximately what will be the cost for to do a CIPS, a basic level course?
Like for level 4, approximately, I would say it's not basic though,
Mm-hmm.
or below level.
Mm-hmm.
If you go for level 2, level 3, maybe it'll cost. Generally, it costs. There are books which you have to buy.
Okay.
There is a enrollment fee which you have to pay for every, and then you have to keep renewing your membership with CIPS,
Okay.
for which it is nearly 1,000 dirhams a year
Okay.
to remain a member of CIPS.
Okay.
You have to pay nearly 1,000 dirhams a year. First, you have to enroll with them,
Okay.
pay the registration fee of 1,000 dirhams,
Okay.
and then you can buy books from them.
Okay.
Each book costing nearly 200 to 400 dirhams.
All right. Okay.
So there are total 8 books, so nearly 2,000 dirhams.
Okay.
And then for every exam, you pay around 400 dirhams. So nearly level 3 or something, it will cost you around 10,000 dirhams.
All right. And that definitely this adds value to the profile.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I've done a bit of research about procurement. Please correct me if I'm wrong because you are into procurement again. So there are a lot of jobs in oil and gas. I'm like, of course, this part of the region, especially Abu Dhabi, has a lot of opportunity in oil and gas. So oil and gas procurement in general, there are a lot of engineers over there. Is there any particular reason they look out for more engineers than a regular bachelors?
Oil and gas is a field where they might require engineers background, but then I also feel that those are not exclusively available for engineers.
Okay, but they're given.
I do get approached. I'm not an engineer, and I do get approached by oil and gas companies
Right.
who are looking for procurement professionals as well.
All right. Thanks for correcting me, because I had an experience, a short stint working in one of the EPC project. So we were actually looking for specifically someone who has done mechanical for one of the project. Oh, the main reason being they're already equipped with the technical knowledge.
Yeah.
So whenever when they come out of the procurement side of the business, they actually understand the product details. The
Yeah.
product,
Yeah.
the tech specs of the product. So it's easy for them. So
Yes,
that
to
was the
grasp.
approach I had. Yeah, of course. Like I think they would definitely be. I'm like any recruiters. Like it depends on the requirement.
Yeah, depending.
Yeah, it may be an engineering or bachelor's. I thought I'll just get your thought process on it. But thanks for clarifying it.
Generally, see what I feel is the company I'm working with. We are into we are into equipment manufacturing and also systems integration.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So it also requires a little bit of technical knowledge.
Right.
But then slowly along with time, I have learned about the products
Okay.
because we go through the data sheets and we go through the product specifications. We understand some things from our colleagues.
Right.
And there is always a cross department conversations which happen where we learn a lot of engineering stuff. Yes.
Before we jump on to the next topics, so CIPS, you said like online learning is also available for CIPS. How is it like CIPS? How do you get enrolled? So you just open the website and just get enrolled. Do you have any direct classes here in UAE or self study? You have, as you have mentioned.
See, there are classes available, online classes available, offline classes are available,
Okay.
and self study is also an option which a few of my friends have done.
Okay.
So it is about like how if you think that you can read the books and you can clear the exams, that's the most cost effective thing. But then I would say that when you go to the classes and when you attend classes and you meet people, you get more connections.
Right.
You learn from others' experiences, which all add real value to your SIPs. Not just about studying the books and learning the strategies theoretically, and just applying them in the exams. So if you are studying if you're going to the class, you're attending classes, whether it be offline or online, you meet few professionals who are into procurement and who have a lot more experience than what you have, and then you learn from their experience and case solving as well.
Yeah, no,
So
no,
that
absolutely.
helps.
But then when you actually sit in a classroom, that's more interactive. You actually get a chance to, there's a chance of networking as well. I'm sure like SIPS is done by already who's working. So you get to know more people who are in the industry. Absolutely agree with you on that. If I'm doing any courses, if there is an online option as well as like direct, I would definitely choose direct. That helps you on communication as well. When you do an online course, one of the I'm like, you touched on key skills, right? Like on communication, etc. When you actually attend a course in the classroom in front of everyone, the amount of interpersonal skills or in the soft skills, this actually develops compared to sitting in front of the computer and then getting this knowledge. I wouldn't say like online is not great, but compared to a classroom sessions versus an online, I would opt for physical or classroom sessions, and I would request all the students to go through direct sessions. As I said, that really enhances their communication and interpersonal skills.
In 2014, when I had done my CTLP, which is Certified Trade and Logistics Professional course, like I had 2 years of experience with my current procurement profession, and just to add value, I plan to do CTLP, which is conducted by DP World in Dubai,
Okay.
to learn more about imports, exports, and also to be a trade executive as well. Yeah. So when I did that in 2014, there was no COVID, there was nothing. So it was all there was no online option. So it was all going to the classroom, attending classes, meeting people with your who have similar experience, and learning from their experiences, and from the fraternity who are more experienced than you. It all helped a lot.
Absolutely. So you have done CIPS as well as CTLP. What is the different stage? Does it add any value doing CTLP? How is it?
CTLP was very, very valuable at that point of time, because I had just completed 2 years of my work as a procurement executive. And when I did my CTLP, I learned a lot about logistics as well, because my job had a requirement for procurement as well as logistics operations. So when I did my CTLP, I knew about a lot about, I learned a lot about the Incoterms, and also about how the import process works and customs duty procedures work in DP World. So there was like that was a 1 year course which I attended, and I had a lot of learnings from that course.
Basically, this deals with a lot of logistics.
Logistics.
Okay. All right. And you have a master's in, you have studied master's in, can you talk more about your master's program as well?
Yeah, I've done in 2020. I've completed my master's, which I had started in 2018 mid, and it is more of a sustainable business field.
Okay.
And my research paper which I had done was about just-in-time procurement to avoid overstocking, and to maintain stocks accurately, and that was my specialty, which I am still good at, to maintain lean procurement process, and that's my master's course which I have done.
If someone wants to get a career into procurement, there is no bachelor's, is what I'm like, as per my research. But please correct me if there is a bachelor's course. And again, there are a lot of master's program I saw. There are a lot of MBAs or Masters of Science in procurement. Can you please talk about it?
Yeah, there are a few options right now. It is about operations, logistics. There are MSCs available in procurement as well. I've been approached by one of the universities if I would be interested, but right now I'm not planning to opt for any courses as of now. So there are, but there is also diplomas which are available.
Okay.
Diplomas which are not masters,
Okay.
which are in the same level of bachelor's.
All right.
But then if you have, if you are into a procurement profession, if you are a fresher, like along with your work life, you can opt for a diploma course and learn a lot about procurement while working.
Okay. Okay. Understand. All right. That's great. Like, so we touched on various topics on, I'm like, in terms of education related to procurement. Thanks so much for giving that information. Let's touch on an interesting topic, which is the market, about the job market as well as salary. So, how are the procurement jobs today?
There is a lot of opportunity these days in procurement field because earlier I believe that like 5-7 years ago, like maybe that there was an understanding in the market that there is no need for there are some organizations which maybe do not find a need for having a procurement position. Maybe one person handling the accounts will do the procurement
Right.
earlier maybe, but now they have realized that there must be a focus on the procurement section in order to have a cost saving, to have supplier management, vendor management, and to have value addition to the and add to the profitability ultimately to the organization.
So this is like you mean to say like there are a lot of jobs available
There
in
are a lot
terms
of
of
jobs available.
procurement. So for example, are they like since our podcast is like more my audience are more into like entry level or someone who has done a graduate. So someone who is a fresher for freshers, are there any jobs available in procurement usually?
I think when I go through my LinkedIn, there are a lot of jobs open for freshers, like entry level procurement jobs. So, like people with just bachelors can apply for it, learn through the way, and then grow accordingly.
Okay. And how are the salary ranges? Like, if I put it like very specific, how are the salary ranges for entry level, someone who wants to start a procurement career?
Procurement generally, yeah. If it's at the entry level, I believe it would be around 5 to 7 thousand dirhams.
And then it keeps on
Yeah.
increasing
You
based on
you
the
prove
experience.
yourself and you master
Okay.
the skill and then you start growing.
All right. So I have done some research. I'm like, if you ask me, how's the salary ranges? So when when I have decided to do a podcast on procurement, so I took some, the job salary ranges from a different. I don't want to mention the name of the organizations that done the research. Typically, here in UAE market, it is divided into three tiers. So tier ones are like the government entities, the multinational companies, and the listed entities. And tier twos are the very well established private firms. And then tier threes are the subcontracting and the smaller scale organizations. So typically, like when you're applying for an entry level role in a tier one, usually the salaries are around 10K for tier one, and then when you look at tier two, again it goes down to 7K, and when it comes to tier three, as you rightly said, it is between 5 and 7. That's for real. I understand it's a bit lower side, but then again that's the truth. Everyone has to accept it. There's no doubt, and this is happening, especially for the tier three organizations. And when it comes to like once you have crossed your entry level, you become an officer, senior officer level. Again, in tier one you get 12 to 15K salary, and in tier two you have 10 to 12K, and on tier three you have 7 to 10K. And again you become a supervisory level, and then managerial. Again, the ladder grows up, anything above 15K. This is just based on my research.
You've already done quite a good research about it, I would say.
All right. And yeah, I have a question which is related to again fresh graduates, which you said yes, fresh graduates are accepted for entry level procurement, provided they have strong communication skills which are required to negotiate with the vendors or the suppliers. I think one of that's the most important skill, right? Like for any procurement professional.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you suggest? Like, these days I see a lot of graduates. For example, if we speak about India, once they have done their engineering, they just try come here and then start looking for a job. And then, as we discussed, if they have done civil engineering, they start looking for a civil engineer role. If they've done mechanical engineer, they start looking for a mechanical engineering role for the first 3 years, and then they don't get any opportunity, they start applying for whatever role that is available. Unfortunately, it's very sad someone does engineering and apply for the other role. But what I have observed, they're not coming towards procurement. I think there is some gap there, or procurement is not very well spoken, as I have introduced.
Yeah.
I think this podcast, one of the main reason to do an interview on procurement is to educate, is to let all the engineers out there. So if you have done a civil engineering, if you have done a mechanical engineering, if you have done any engineering, you can also look out for a career in procurement. As much as engineering professionals are successful, careers in procurement are very, very successful. You have the same set of salaries that engineers gain in their line of study that they have done. Yes, comparatively, procurement is also making a very good career in terms of financially as well as career growth. As Tej did like CIPS, once you have equipped with an entry level, get couple of years experience, have your CIPS, you will definitely have a successful career. And Tej, having so much experience in procurement, um, if at all someone who wants some information, or someone, like as I said, like there are a lot of students who will be watching this, they want some guidance on procurement, or they might have some questions on CIPS. Would it be okay for you to be approached, someone who comments on it, like if they want mentorship, are you okay to
For sure.
take it?
For sure, for sure. I even right now, I do get a lot of messages on LinkedIn, like,
Right.
how is the experience from the university where I have done MBA from, and I do guide them, and give them a feedback of what is my experience been.
Okay. And what advice would you give someone just starting out a procurement career? Throughout your experience, I'm sure you want to share some information. So I'll leave like a few minutes to you. What advice would you like to give, or what do you want to speak about procurement?
Like for the freshers, right?
Yeah, freshers or entry level, someone who
Entry
has
level.
1-2 years experience. What is a piece of advice that you would like to give?
Yeah, for an entry level procurement executive, I would recommend the first thing is have patience. Yeah, these are not the skills. Like, procurement is not a profession. You get the credit, like, for by the management, because there are sales targets, which when a salesperson accomplishes, he gets that commission, or he gets incentives. Procurement profession is not a profession where you get much of incentives. So definitely have faith in your skills, and be have that integrity in yourself, and slowly and gradually the management will understand the cost that you're saving for your organization, and you will definitely get your due credit from the management, is what I would say.
Okay, wonderful. So now we'll move on to the final round of this episode, which is rapid fire. So just I'll be shooting you with a couple of questions. I'll see like how you're gonna respond. So if I ask you one word to describe your procurement career, Tej.
Strategic.
Okay, and one word to describe your journey.
Transformative.
Great. And what is the biggest myth or biggest misconception about procurement?
That it's only about cost cutting. It's not about cost cutting.
Yeah, true. Everyone thinks procurement is all about cost cutting. Yeah, definitely. That's a good one. And I know this is not a rapid fire question, but I just want to understand, like, you have any of your favorite negotiation story being into procurement?
It's a very difficult question to finish in one line, because I
Yeah.
have so many stories, out of which I would say one very strong story is about a negotiation. We cracked a deal during a trip to our supplier in Switzerland. But I would not go in detail because it'll be a long story then.
All right. No, we'll do a separate episode for that. And if not procurement, what career would you have chosen?
Maybe into marketing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's all for now, Tej. Thank you so much for giving a lot of insights into procurement, especially that you explained about the certifications, about CIPS, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much for inspiring and giving informative content about procurement. Thank you so much for that. I still have a lot of questions, but considering the time factor, that's about it for today. Uh, we'll wrap it up here, and we'll be coming back shortly with another podcast with a different profession, which again we hope that's going to be very, very informative as well as inspiring. And for those who have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. As I said, this really motivates me to bring in a lot of content. And if you want to be a part of this podcast, if you want to be a guest of this channel, please do just mention in the comments, or I'll be sharing my email ID in the description. Please do reach out to me. That's all for today. Keep liking, keep sharing. Thanks so much for supporting the Recruiter Talks.